Bo Bichette, fearless competitor, loves the moment, very clutch. And this is, we spoke about this when Marcus Semien was traded here for his declining offensive issues. Marcus Semien, who, of course, Bo Bichette loved playing with once upon a time, is another guy that players and people love to be around. I'm not going to make any accusations or talk about last year specifically because we weren't in that clubhouse, right? But it is just very clear that David Stearns not only wanted to make a better built baseball team from a performance standpoint, but meshing the right talent together. And it was really cool to see Bo Bichette put on a Mets jersey for the first time. I get some of the people that are like, really a big press conference for a guy that could opt out after 1 year, but he's the type of star talent that, yeah, you do a press conference for. And I will say, everybody is just assuming Bichette's going to have a good year and he's going to opt out again. Number one, give me a great year from Bo Bichette and I'll figure out the rest later. I'm hoping that that's the case. The second thing is he is making so much money per year going into a potentially shortened lockout season. I don't think it's just a given that Bo Bichette is going to be here for a year and that's it. But nevertheless, Joe, he's going to be a really easy guy to root for at Citi Field this year.
Connor, I am a press conference guy, so if I
love the press conferences.
If I was in charge, Luis Robert would get one, Freddie Peralta would get one.
Where's the line? Wait, where's the line? Where's the line?
Luis Garcia does not get a press
conference. That's where I was going. But Polanco would have got one for you.
Polanco would have gotten one 100%.
The forgotten man, by the way, of the offseason.
Marcus Semien would have gotten one.
Wow, you hand them out like candy on Halloween.
Connor, here's what I'll say. At bare minimum, and this is my personal request to the Mets. We have a good relationship with the Mets, obviously, with SNY, and we know the people there. I'm asking just so nicely, if we're going to do these Zooms, I get it. Like, you don't want to fly people in. Like, everything that goes into a press conference is not as easy as I'm making it out to be. But can we send these guys a Mets hat and a Mets jersey to put on for the Zoom? That feels like the bare minimum. Send the guys a hat, something.
Here's the plan, Joe.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm piggybacking off where you're going. You sign a player, especially of Jorge Polanco's status, who's a good player, $20 million a year player. You go to FedEx. In the box, you put in the box a $100 webcam, a $200 microphone, their jersey, and a Mets hat. And you overnight it to them for the press conference. That's it.
Connor, you could put a Post-it note in the box that says, bring this microphone and camera with you to spring training to return it. So you could get it back and repurpose it for the next guy.
I don't think it'll bother Steve Cohen.
But you could be efficient, I guess. But let's not get away from the big point here, which is Bo Bichette, not to get beyond press conferences. One of my favorite moments, and I saw someone on Twitter clip it out, gave me like a feel of me when I put on a suit and I'm getting ready to leave the house. As soon as the press conference ended, he got up, kind of like dusted it off. Him and Stearns shook hands, and he looked at Stearns. He goes, "I look pretty good in this, huh?" And Stearns is like, "Yep." Like, just that little moment. And I think Bo is exactly what this Mets team needed. I know when we did the emergency show last week, it was just in the moment, emotional reaction, not like as much pure analysis now that we've had a little time to think about it. Man, this guy behind Juan Soto, I know people are going to worry about the Pete Alonso home runs lost, and that's a factor here. But man, Bo Bichette's going to drive in so many freaking runs with Juan Soto on in front of him and Francisco Lindor on in front of him. Like, to me, that's the 1-2-3. Lindor, Soto, Bichette. Don't even think about doing anything differently as far as I'm concerned. And on the defensive side of things, the more I kind of looked into it, the more I think he's going to be just fine at third base. Is he going to go win the Gold Glove? I'll go out on a limb and say no. He probably will not. But he went from a not great shortstop, the biggest issue being range. At third base, there's not a need for a whole lot of range. There needs to be foot quickness, which I think he has. There needs to be reactions, which I think he has. And it's just a matter of getting comfortable with the angles and the ball coming on you quicker and everything that comes along with third base. But the more time I've spent on it, the more sold that I'm like, he's going to be fine. And Lindor can cover the ground next to him. You could have Lindor shade a little more towards the hole. because Lindor doesn't have to shade for the second baseman. Like this, all the infield defensive picture, it's a collective. In some ways, it's like an offensive line in football. Like everybody has to work together. Yes, there's individual performances. You have to field the ground balls that are hit to your position. But I think the Mets can make Bo Bichette's life easier for this transition. And if there is anybody in the game, probably the most unsung thing that the Mets did this offseason was hire Kai Correa as their bench coach and infield coach. Talking to people in the game, this is the best in the business, if not the best, right up there. So I think they're going to maximize Bo Bichette's defensive ability, and I think he's going to be just fine at third base.